Children, this video is about ascent of sap, and let me tell you, this is also a very important topic with respect to boards. Ascent means upward. So whenever you have to explain this term, you will be writing upward conduction of water and minerals. What do you mean by ascent of sap? Upward conduction of water and minerals. And we know very well that water and minerals, you may call it sap. The conduction of this sap is done by xylem channels. I believe that by this time you people already know that two conducting tissues are there in the plant. One is xylem, the other one is phloem. Xylem takes the water from the bottom till the top, and phloem takes the food along with, and it is from the top to the bottom. So must understand the direction and the tissues which are responsible for conduction of food and water. Right? When the water has to be pumped up inside a plant, in that case certain forces are needed. As you ever know that sometimes we have a multi-storied building and the water has to be pumped up. In that case we install a kind of motor in our houses so that the water can be thrusted into the tank which is present at the top. That means even we need a motor to thrust the water against gravity. But plant is a natural thing. We can't install a motor there. So in that case, the plant has its own mechanism, its own forces, which actually contribute to the ascent or upward conduction of this water and minerals. Right? What are these forces? The first one here is cohesive force. You people are science students, so you must be knowing cohesive force is the force of attraction between two water molecules. Right, so whenever water is running along a channel, the water molecules will be tending to stay intact because of force of attraction between them. The second one is adhesive force. Adhesive means adhering or sticking to something. Now this is the force of attraction between the water molecule and the wet xylem wall through which the water is continuously moving up. So the force of attraction between these two contents is adhesive force. Both the forces contribute to keeping the water molecules intact. The third one is transpirational pull. You also call it suction pressure. Children, you need to understand that suction pressure is created at a place where vacuum is generated. So here the key word comes as vacuum. How come that vacuum is generated? See that if I have drawn a diagram here to show you that there is a tree trunk, and in this center you always know that in the center is xylem and the periphery is phloem, right? So the water will be absorbed by the soil, and the water will be taken up till the xylem cells, and xylem will be taking it upwards. The water molecules, while moving up along this channel, will be keeping themselves intact. That means there is no air space in between. It is a continuous water column. So continuous water column actually helps in generating suction, but how it happens? Please see that the water is supplied till the end of the top of the plant, and the water is supplied to each and every leaf. I have just magnified the structure of a leaf where you can see the xylem veins and the networking here. These are the venations, these are our xylem veins, and they are responsible for transporting water and minerals to each and every cell of the leaf. But at the same time, if you see that there is a continuous transpirational water loss, because leaves are undergoing transpiration, so water is lost into the atmosphere in the form of water vapors. You need to see that when one water molecule is lost, supposedly here, it's just an example that the water is lost from here. That means now the position of this water molecule is vacant. And since the channel is continuous, there is no airspace, this water loss has created a kind of vacuum here which will be generating suction pressure. You may also call it a tension which is produced in xylem. Why this is also known as tension? Because this vacuum will be pulling up the following water molecule and the whole channel will be pulled up. I mean, the way you are sitting in a row, and if I remove the first child from the row and I ask all the children to relocate in a line, so you all will be moving one seat earlier, right? So this is something which is a generation of suction pressure. It will be pulling up all the water molecules, I mean, further, and this is something which will be causing that gap to be pushed towards the root. I mean, that air bubble or the air space will be actually pushed towards the root cells so that the water column can be maintained continuously. This is suction pressure here, and this is due to the continuous loss of water through transpiration, and that's why you also call it transpirational pull. So three forces you have studied till now: cohesive, adhesive, transpirational pull, you also call it suction pressure, and the fourth one is capillarity. Now capillarity is quite easier. You should be seeing that xylem channels are very narrow, right? Suppose if they are so thin, you just imagine you are having two channels. This one is having this much area of cross section, the other one is quite narrower, and when you keep such tubular pipelines in the water will be taken up in the narrower tube first. I can give you an example for this. If you have straws with you, with which you drink the cold drinks, right? One is a thin straw having narrower area of cross section. The other one is quite wider. So if you keep those straws into different cold drinks or soft drinks, you will see that the water is raised in the narrow straw much higher than that of the wider straw. That means narrower is the area of cross section, narrower is the tube, more rise will be there in the water. And when we say, and this is due to capillary action, we always know that xylem channels are quite narrow. That's why the capillarity action acts on it, and this will help in taking the water up. So four pressures there: cohesive, adhesive, transpiration, pull, and capillarity. Now what you have to see is, I have written here vertical movement of water. That means there are two movements involved in ascent of sap. First of all, first movement will be taking soil water horizontally to the xylem, and second water will be taking xylem water to the top. So these forces are helpful in vertical movement of water, and for horizontal movement of water, I will be proceeding I will be taking the content in the upcoming video.